No turning back. We have our ancestors with us. We're going to continue to dance with them. Dreaming them. Calling them. Seeing them. We are becoming what we were.
It is part of that Mayan prophecies.
7 triangles of light.
Keep walking. You are the spirit of Unapu. Keep walking. We the human, we are doing the spirit of Unapu.
People who say that the gods made them from corn. They planned their lives according to the heavens. Well-versed in astronomy, using a sophisticated mathematics, they calculated the movements of the night sky thousands of years into the past and thousands of years into the future. They knew that the universe moved in cycles. Their lives were ruled by the rhythms of the natural world, planting and harvesting, birth and death, just as the great tree of life emerges from the earth.
Always, they're connected. Science and religion.
In dreams, we learn from the Maya gods when to plant and when to harvest, when to set the fire, and when to do the corn ceremony.
What we're digging up, what we're coming up with is part of our history. And the men that lived here are some of the greatest men we've ever had. And it's the fact that we're getting to know more and more and more about the life of these people.
They still maintain their customs. They still maintain their ways of organizing their societies. And it's very exciting to see how much of the ancient Maya way of life is still alive as well.
Because American history does not begin in 1492 with Columbus. It begins in 200 BC with the first Maya king who wrote his name on a stone. What is happening now is the people who made these places, people like Yashpak or Bird Jaguar or Fakal, are getting back their voices. They are becoming real to us and speaking to the people of the 20th century about who built this place and why and what they felt and what they thought about the world. These are not anonymous people anymore.
You are the spirit of Unapu. Keep walking. We the human, we are doing the spirit of Unapu.
LA Natives Podcast.
LA Natives.
Las Aslan Natives Podcast. What is cracking? We have a very powerful show today.
Yeah.
Very, very influential guests.
Strong brothers are.
But before we begin, I just want to say hit the like button, share the video, leave a comment, and most importantly, subscribe. It worked. So now we have to say this in the beginning of every episode because we just have to hit it hard because we need everyone to help us get to 1,000 subscribers.
Well,
getting us to 1,000 subscribers is our goal, right, Zero?
Right. How far are we from?
I think we're almost hitting 800.
800.
Yeah.
So that gives
we're not
us
that far.
No, we're not at all. So I guess my message or my 2 cents on what that was is like, if you feel like this content is going to affect a person you love, maybe put them on the right direction, or maybe there's a person that feels frustrated. They're the only ones that they feel that way. You know, we talk to people in Denver, fucking different places in Canada.
Yeah.
I mean, there's all kinds of people out there that need this message. So if you feel like this message is relevant, please like, subscribe, and share.
Shout out to all the fans that are out of state. Yeah, we are California guys, and we're from obviously LA natives, but we got fans all across the country, right, Zero?
Yes, that was amazing to me. Like, I'm sorry, my son's calling me. I gotta text him, but yeah, the few callers that we had, they were from different places.
Yep,
which is cool.
And the phone number is right there on the screen. 562-542-2975. Feel free to join the conversation. What's up, Product Pistolas?
What's up, man? How's everybody doing, man?
Welcome back.
Hell yeah. We took a little break, you know. We went on tour with Conejo. We were
Absolutely.
out there in Texas with the Raza, you know what I mean? And
It was a great tour, right?
Bro,
Product?
that was fun, bro.
Wow.
The food in Texas, bro, is real food. Zero. The food in Texas is real meat.
Yeah.
Like we go to a Burger King or In-N-Out or whatever, and they have the patties are real, like the guys carne.
No way.
Right here, the carne is like 3D printed.
That's weird.
I swear to God.
That's weird.
I love
Well,
Texas.
but Texas is
Shout
a very
out to
big,
Texas.
meat eating state.
Shout out to Conejo. You know, he had fans in every city.
That's crazy.
Meet and greet, a handful of meet and greets,
Like
man. Shout out to Conejo, man. He's a
hardcore
legendary LA-based artist.
Absolutely.
But that being said, I was already talking to Product. Indigenous Cats reached out, and yes, we are planning a small little tour run. We're going to start off in California, maybe hit a couple other states. But yes, Zero, like it's actively in the works. I am going to reach out to Dakota. But
we're going to Canada.
Indigenous
baby.
Cats reached out, man, and Product. There's a lot of work that goes into touring or organization. You saw it firsthand, right? Product.
First, check it out. First,
it's
and
so
foremost,
many pieces to make it work. A flat tire could ruin everything.
Bro, first and foremost, shout out to Mondo for driving like 20 plus hours straight with blizzard, fucking snow. You can't
Remember
even
that?
see in front of you, bro. I thought this was the last.
Are you kidding me?
Bro,
You
bro,
were
We were
driving
in
in snow?
we were in Arctic weather, bro.
Bro.
Like we barely missed the storm that basically caused the whole city to shut down,
Shut
and
down
we had left the
airports
day
and all
before.
that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Wow.
bro. This fool was fucking stormtrooping, bro. That was awesome, bro. It's just you can't see in front of you. This was like a Jedi, just with this big ass truck. It's fucking like a tank, bro. This was, shout out to Mondo, man. She was real.
But you know, with the talent, I feel like we're gonna put in place for this, you know, so-called indigenous tour, right? Or native tour, indigenous
LA
hip hop
native,
tour.
LA native tour.
It just there's a different niche of fans, right, Zero?
Well, we're trying to reach out to our families that are remote to us. You know, we live in Los Angeles, and it's easy to access things from here. But some people don't have that access, so sometimes you have to go to them. You know, and if we can go to them and or the circles around there spread the message that LA natives are going over there. Maybe we can podcast. You know, we have those kind of ideas.
And what
it's not just going to be like a tour where it's like, oh yeah, just come see me at a venue. No, come out and meet us.
Yeah.
Be on the podcast. I mean, whatever we decide creatively to promote this mission or message or whatever it is that we're doing here with LA Natives, we need people in remote places to participate. So this is our olive branch.
Like for
to you
example,
guys.
when we land in San Diego, you're gonna see Lucky 2Tears at the show.
That'd be dope. That'd be cool. And
You
see
know,
all of his friends or people
when we go to
whole
Mazatzin's
tribe.
territory, you're gonna see Mazatzin at the show.
Absolutely. With
You know,
all
that,
his
that's what we're
class,
going to
yeah.
deliver to the community, because it's well needed. Like, you know, shout out to Jag of Mexico New Year. He's organizing a big event that's coming up.
Yeah. Shout out to him.
A super one of a kind event. Shout out to Tochli from Mexico New Year, San Jose.
Yep.
But it's a different niche. You know how I see it. It's not just, you know, promoting hip hop. You know, like I think with this tour, especially with Zero leading the way, it's just like it's more than just music, right, Zero?
Exactly. Like I've already went through that phase of wanting to do anything on the mainstream or any of that stuff. Being on a record label. Right now at this point in my life, it's about the art. Like, what kind of art can I put out? And really, musicians don't have lots of money. So if you can figure out a way to put out this art in any way you can, and then the community responds, like when we go out to these tours and they buy our merchandise or they share our content, and now we have the tribe that we've been looking for.
And what I've learned, not just with the Conejo tour, I've toured with Necro, I've toured with Pause One. Fans embrace artists from LA. It's a different surreal look, right?
Yeah.
Like right product, like, oh fuck, you're from Los Angeles, you're from fucking Disneyland.
No,
I don't know, or
I know.
Hollywood.
I felt that when I toured in New Mexico and in Arizona, because I had this decolonized shirt and it had the LA symbol in it.
With the LA
Yeah, yeah, with the LA, right? And then I was walking down the street and, oh, what the fuck? You're from LA? Like, man, that's fucking cool. Like, you know. And then we're like, yeah, we're recording artists. Oh, fuck. Are you famous? They automatically think you're famous because you come from Los Angeles.
LA.
But
Do you know this celebrity or that celebrity?
yeah, it's like,
It's true.
but I just noticed that Los Angeles had a lot of weight through art, but not really noticed as an art kind of place. You know, like they think of San Francisco or, you know, other places to be an art mecca. But I feel like Los Angeles has a very diverse, very dark, but super progressive mind, right? And that's why people are attracted to Los Angeles. I'm sure I heard a story a long time ago when I started selling my smoothies that there was a special tree that lived here, and that natives would come from different parts of Turtle Island to pray with that tree. It was a very old tree. And so they said that they cut that tree down. And so, but the magic of that tree still lives here.
The roots.
Yeah, the roots are still here. This place is magical. This place has significance. So shout out to the Tungva, the Quiche, the Chumash, and all original people of the West Coast Turtle Island areas.
And all your new music that's about to drop, like the heaviest rock you could imagine, it represents everyone in Turtle Island.
It's
right?
powerful.
Absolutely.
It's powerful.
It's time that we tell our story, and we tell it in a very unbiased way, you know, where we talk about our truths and we talk about the colonization of our truth. You know what I mean? Like what they call truth, which is really colonization, is what I'm trying to say. And so now it's time to be intellectual, to use and implement. That's why I'm so happy that Mazatzin is here, because, you know, we are on our path of understanding exactly how to use these sacred calendars. It's not enough to read and know. You have to implement. And so there's a lot of things that I'm going to do in the spring of this year. I'm going to start a workshop series on how to decolonize your perspective by using high mineral diet and fasting. And you'll see how fast your perspective changes. And I'm going to start this workshop series in March. So
let's go ahead and bring in Lucky 2Tears.
Absolutely. Yo. Oh, my brother.
How's it going?
Very good, very good.
Appreciate you jumping on the show. And then we're going to go ahead and bring in Mazatzin.
Right on.
Oh, Uncle.
Maestro.
How you been?
So look, these two special guests, we've interviewed them before. Very powerful episodes. Lucky 2Tears is. Are you from San Diego?
Arizona originally, Arizona territory.
But you live in San Diego, right?
Of course, yeah.
And then, of course, we have the powerful Mazatzin
Right.
in the building.
How you been, brother? How your travels?
Really good. But it's good to be home too.
Absolutely. Also, you're up in the Bay.
Right here, tu casa, aquí en San Pancho.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh.
So Lucky 2Tears, if you could enlighten our audience, who you are, what you represent, the work that you do over there in the community.
Well, first and foremost, I'm Yaqui native, emanation, originally from the Arizona territories, Mesa, Arizona. Here in San Diego, I've established myself as a community activist or barrio activist. I am
affiliated with the En Barrio warfare movement, which was founded during the early 70s by a cat by the name of Gustavo Gus Frias, East LA during the early 70s. So I'm like the San Diego chapter of the En Barrio warfare movement. My objective is to end Chicano on Chicano gang violence, not only in San Diego, but throughout what we know as Aztlan, throughout all the Southwest areas, the predominantly, Chicano, Mexicano communities. So basically that's been my thing since I was a youngster, being part of this movement and being 100% committed to this movement.
There was a key word that I had mentioned in the last episode is being consistent, right, Zero?
Right.
Lucky 2Tears just bleeds consistency.
Right. He's been around for a while. He's done a lot of things, and the movement that you represent, brother, hopefully, comes all the goals come to fruition, because it's not easy to keep individuals on the same page. I've been noticing that in the place where I decided to start my business, which is East Los Angeles. And I just remember there was some major violence today. Someone got shot in our neighborhood, like not even a half a mile away from our store, in the head.
And this is due to gang violence?
We don't know. I don't know.
Product. Like, what's your perception, or how do you see gang violence, dude?
Is very much alive still in the communities.
Yeah.
It's thriving, actually. It just looks different. It changes the culture, the lifestyle, the way they dress, but it's very much active, very much alive. There's still guns and drugs in the community, and these kids are getting drugged up and shooting up other people, and the repercussions, or they go to jail, but they look up to this kind of shit.
Wow.
It's crazy.
So, Uncle Mazatzin, before I ask you about these topics that we're talking about, go ahead and give our audience a brief little intro to who you are and what you represent.
Well, I'm just like you. I'm just another person, right? That's got an idea to also, like the big brother up here mentioned, Lucky, that we're here to try to help, try to make things a little more harmonious, right? A little more peaceful, a little more enjoyable life, so we can start enjoying life.
Yeah.
It's been so long. So my trajectory has been based on also La Cultura, as you guys know, mainly in the calendar systems.
Right.
I believe that, like we call them astronomical calendrical map and a cosmic clock. In other words, they left us something. They left us something very special and important. And we can take advantage, without abusing, of course, but take advantage of time, the way our abuelos had left us these steps to follow. I believe that we could reach a little more harmonious and peaceful coexistence, with not just.
Is there a solution to gang violence, Like,
well, that's exactly what
you're from East LA. You're from the trenches of the trenches.
But that's exactly what Mazatzin's saying. Like, I get what he's saying. Like, there's what people have prepared you to do, where like they indoctrinate you with school, movies, music. But our job is to break free from those type of things, right? And in those things exists that violence. And how do you break free? I know what helped me, Uncle Mazatzin's calendar. I found out my tonal. Once I found out my tonal, I started meditating on that tonal, right? And it started giving me lots of answers, to the point where now I have my own business.
Me growing up in LA, in middle school, high school, I always wanted to be part of a clique or a gang. And for some weird reason, it attracted me to the point where I was part of a group or a clique, running around doing bullshit, robbing people, breaking into houses. I admit I made some horrible decisions, but Prodac, right? Like it's purposely placed there to suck kids in and to gobble them and eat them up alive, bro. Because a lot of my homies are not even here today,
right?
Due to gang violence.
But you know,
I just think, you know, I don't know. I'm 38. Gangs in the late 90s, early 2000s, I believe had a different mentality compared to the gangs now. You know, it's
definitely different. But you know, we have like a unique storm happening in poor areas. Is that people that went away for 20 years and the neighborhood calmed down are now getting out.
I just learned my lessons while I was still a teenager. I always knew when I turned 18, the cops, the judges always told me, hey man, your life's going to completely change if you continue this path when you turn 18. So I just, you know, I basically just moved on from that lifestyle, you know.
Well, you were lucky because a lot of people don't.
They don't get a chance. They don't get
now,
a chance.
Now, I did grow up in a gang-infested environment, right? Who hasn't? You have, obviously, Zero.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you, Product?
Hell yeah, man. I'm still there today, man. I'm out here. We were talking about it. We're in Skid Row. This shit's different out here, you know? People are homeless, you know? That's the real pandemic, you know?
It's such a hand in glove fit with hip hop, though, right, Zero? It's a shame that, you know, the majority of hip hop has been revolved around gang culture.
It is, but you know, I do believe in time and timekeeping and those movements of time that Uncle Mazatzin talks about, because all of those things and points have a reaction. And things start to change. You can't be in this state forever. You know, there's too much information out there to lead you to go, look, like back in the days when you were in gangs, you couldn't grab your phone and go, look, see, this is the problem. This is where you're going to, and then boom, the kid's all, oh, I don't want to do this no more. I'm telling you, it's what it is a unique situation where we got people who went away to prison for 20 years, but 20 years is over now. They're back and they're going, whoa, this is weird. This is different. And they're still in their old habits because they're not afraid of jail. The new generation, they really didn't experience that because it wasn't so popular. Early 90s people got hit hard with that Scarface and
Lucky,
you know.
2Tears. Like, how do you see the gang culture back in the day compared to the gang culture right now that we're looking at right now?
The new generation of so-called gangsters they mess around and they're not really realizing the consequences of their actions because they're breaking a lot of the rules, you know, with the drive-by shootings, violating that one. Then there was a peace treaty that came out almost 2 years ago that's supposed to be obeyed, and they're not obeying that. So there's gonna be a lot of people suffering like some heavy consequences, you know, for trying to play the role but not following the rule. You know what I mean? There's rules to every game that you play, especially, you know, being part of these street gangs with Chicanos or Mexicanos, whatever you want to, whatever's politically correct. You know, there's rules. Rules have been implemented. Rules have been laid down by the older guys once upon a time, and some more recent. And these youngsters are coming up, and some of their parents or their uncles and brothers have been there and done that, are not educating them on the do's and don'ts when they want to play the gangbang role. And so they're just finding out the hard way. And one of the things that I warn the kids is when I do lectures and go to the schools and talk to them is, you know, your best avenues to stay off the streets, stay away from the gangs, don't get involved, because one day you're going to mess around and go out with the guys and end up killing or hurting somebody who happens to be connected to a very well-known, respected family. And they're going to pull out all the stops. And your own homeboys, your neighborhood, no one's going to be able to protect you because you just disrespected the wrong people. So that's one of the warnings that I give them. You know, it's all there. You know, it's just they have to, I think some of the older guys need to really pay attention to the youngsters and start, hey man, don't do this. don't go mess around and do that, because we're not going to be able to help you if you really screw up. The homeboys, no one, nobody.
But I want to say this though. I love all my homeboys. I love all my homies from the hoods. Like, I love everybody. Zero, like,
Yeah,
like I
I
have
mean,
so many homies that are from hoods.
I know a lot of people that come
Like
to this-
Prodac, do you have a lot of homies that are from hoods?
Bro, they're real people, bro. It's just unfortunate where they grew up in and where they live in, where they so happen to fall under a neighborhood. They're just fools like us, like me and you. They're just regular people. They have families. They're loving. They're cholos.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I get to see like an older generation, like 60-year-old ones, you know. Then you get to see like the ones that are just getting out of jail, and then the new guys. The new guys they're really they're I don't really see those guys because those guys are just they're in a different world. Like it's not the same as it was when we were kids. Because they
But-
have access to so many things. They have access to pills. They have access
So
to
they're 3D printing
But
guns.
I think
everything.
But I think this topic is so vital.
See?
Basically,
3D printed
basically
guns.
based on the foundation of this whole show. Just being indigenous, and like Zero. I've seen firsthand when cholos go up to you, or I know of fans that were cholos and they listen to your shit and they're like, "Yo, I have a whole new perspective on life."
I've
Like
gotten,
you've told me these stories.
I've gotten that. I mean, but it's we need to evolve from that. It's cool to like listen to it and go, okay, I'm indigenous and I feel prideful about being indigenous. But it goes further than that. And that's what I want Mazatzin to talk about, because once we dive into the true reality, like he was just saying a few minutes ago, like really living life. Is really living life being looking over your shoulder every second? Is really living life understand? Because everybody gets a sunrise, everybody gets a sunset, everybody gets the moment to connect with nature in whatever state you're in. I was walking down the street in East LA and I saw a hummingbird. But if you're not paying attention, you miss out on that life. And being on time is the most important thing. And what we think on time is, and we're looking at a watch, and it's not that.
Now, Zero.
Like I want to see like the perception of what Mazatzin thinks time is. Can you give us the perception of time? Not a watch, but what is time?
Well, it's very interesting, man, and that's a good question, because I'm gonna go like this. One time they asked, can the existence of God be proven? Yes or no? Okay. And it was in a class. It was in a college class, right?
Mm.
And I took it I took it serious. I went looking. I went, even going to different churches, even trying to find out what people thought. Even had a few visions myself.
Mhm.
And it was very interesting, because at the end of it all, the professor wasn't really interested in what you thought, right? Or what you went through to try to find his answers. He wanted to know if, like they say, if you cross the T and dotted the I, did you say it right,
Mm-hmm.
But to me, man, I went searching, I wanted to find out, and that was quite a long time ago. But I came to find out, or from my perspective, to, I guess you want to say, to my satisfaction, I realized that God is potential and time.
Mm.
Potential and time, the
Mm.
potential to change things, do things, make things, and the time in which to do it in, and I think that the ancestors, somehow at least came to something similar to that idea. So their mission that they set out on, one of many, of course, of many, but was to find the meaning behind this time, or the system that this time travels in. You want to say it, In other words, preparing for the time that's coming,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so, but it wasn't like looking into the future and reading the future or casting the future, but it was actually looking to the past, looking behind for time had already been through. Okay.
Mm.
And that's why these cycles, they were able to make these cycles, or to read you want to say better, to read the cycle of nature, right?
Wow.
In the space of the cosmos. So that was the time and the space, that brought us to an understanding. And the important thing to me that I found after all these years, trying to find some reason that I could understand, is that, guess what? Nobody did it alone. Okay, nobody did it alone. No one could have done it alone. There's uh, so much work, so much complexity that went into the calendar systems that no one person could have done it, or one people even, or one
Right.
area, or one nation. In other words, it's a culmination of many, many, many people working together, and that's what I see. I see the calendar as that example, or the, what do you want to call it? The prime example that our ancestors, they had national and international relationships, that they
Right.
were able to get along, able to work together on a project that took thousands of years. And the most interesting thing to me about it all is that they finished the work. In other words, it's a project that was started thousands of years ago, but they finished the work.
Wow.
And that's why the work is, as we know it, and as we have presented it, right? The Aztec calendar, the culmination of thousands of years across thousands of miles by thousands of people. Everybody participated, I believe, in putting this thing together for
And,
the
and this
purpose
is and, and
looking
this is
for the purpose to have an astronomical calendrical map and a cosmic clock that could guide us where we need to go and make sure we get there on time.
wow, and that's a heavy breakdown right
Well,
there, Zero.
think
And
about
this
it.
is why I love the work that Lucky 2Tears does, because he incorporates all that.
That's dope. But we were talking about like gang violence and the actions that come, or the consequences that come with gang violence, or any kind of gang activity, or robbery, or theft, or drugs. What do they do if they catch you? They give you time. They take away all that time from you. Look at
Take
how
your freedom.
Mazatzin just broke down a symbol upon which we can utilize to organize our time. Yet we're breaking rules, and we're hurting ourselves, and we're fighting and killing, and they're taking away our time. All the builders, all the thinkers, all the artists, all the poets, all the cooks, all the fathers. Wow. We need to get a new perspective.
And
Thank you, Uncle, for that breakdown. That was a beautiful breakdown on how to understand and utilize that, because those are the answers to all these problems.
Mazatzin dropping bombs, right, Product?
That shit was crazy.
Like, but Lucky 2Tears, like, much respect on the work you do, bro, for being on the front line, and on top of that, pushing an indigenous native message. Right, Lucky? Like, that's such a unique trait to have, and to be a leader out of all that, right? So go ahead and tell us about your experiences throughout this journey.
I'm just following through what my ancestors did, like during some of the old ones did during the Mexican Revolution. We stood by the Mexican people and helped them fight their battles, the Yaqui, and we were like the right arm during their little revolutionary skirmishes. We helped them, and to this day, I feel that it's my duty as Yoeme to stand by La Raza and to help La Raza to help themselves.
Man, that's well said, right, Product?
That's big. That's big.
La verdad, la neta, the reality, you're speaking truth, brother.
It's the Yaqui way. We have to stand by them, even though, at one point they tried to take our land from us and couldn't, and now they have humbled themselves to us, because they know that, just like when the white man during the late 1800s, we were like the only tribe on this side of the imaginary line that could not be forced onto the reservation like all the other tribes, the Apaches and the Comanche and all the other ones that were being forced onto the res. It took the United States government to assign the U.S. Cavalry and the United States Marshals and bounty hunters to try to hunt us down and to force us onto the res, along with some other so-called renegade tribes from other renegade natives from other tribes. And we were like the only tribe that could not be forced onto the res, the one and only, the Yaqui, because we fought hard and we gave the white man hell.
And you know, Zero, I love the fact that, you know, Lucky recognizes Atzlan, like this is Las Atzlan, Natives podcast, right, Zero?
Right. Well, this is we're all at different levels in trying to understand how to proceed, right? And I love the fact that we can get into the identity and the resistance, but there's also implementation of some very sacred things, right? They spent a long time. We cannot devalue the length of time they took to complete this work. It's not, we're not talking 100 years, 200 years. We're talking thousands of years working together, trusting each other with information to finish this beautiful scientific art piece that can be implemented today. Am I correct, Mazatzin?
You're correct. You're correct. But however, let me just add a little more that I realized that you know, like my two passions, as you know, one is this that we're talking about right now, time, right? The calendar systems and trying to retrieve them as well. Because my second passion is human rights, right? You know, which is exactly what you guys were talking about earlier regarding, you know, the gang fights and the things that are going on still. It's about human rights. It's about respecting and promoting human rights, period. You know, anybody, all humans, all breathing human beings, you know, and of course, and all living beings as well. Because if we don't respect the living beings, all the other beings, that's one of the reasons why we can't respect ourselves either, you know, because we think we're better than maybe even the little animals and so forth, you know. So my second passion, like I said, is human rights. And so as I've been trying to take advantage without abusing these rights that now they say we have, or they have been called declarations, or the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. Well, you know, it's very important, I believe, that we should all get copies of those rights, you know, and really give them to our kids. Let them read them, and be surprised, because they could be asking questions to their teachers, even to their parents, and to, of course, to the quote unquote authorities. But among them, there's something very important, one that I've grabbed a hold of and I've been using almost as a guide, and there's a certain right that says that not only do we have a right to the ancient knowledge or ancient culture of our abuelos, our ancestors, like that, but we also have a right to take it to the next level, you know, right? We have a right to take it to the next level. In other words, they would not have stopped where they were at, you know. They have to count with a finished product of thousands of years, but I'm sure they would have continued, you know, taking that to the next level as well. And so we have to as well. We have to take it to the next level, you know. In other words, use it, don't abuse it, but take it to the next level, because of all the peoples that we have, and a lot of us, a lot of people are trying to find their roots and their, you know, their ancient ways, and trying to get back into the rhythm. I call it back into the rhythm you were born in, you know. But at the same time, we're being kept apart from other people, you know. Okay, and we just can't do it no more, because everybody's here. You know, everybody from the whole world is here, you know. So in other words, and we're all related in many different ways, you know. So right now it's a time for us to find something solid, something real, I believe, that we can depend on, and then find the commonality amongst all of us, you know.
Wow,
and I think
that's
and I think one real common thing is that everybody, I believe, knew that the sun is like a good father that gives light and warmth to everything and everybody, and the earth is the good mother that gives food, clothing, and shelter to everything and everybody alike. And in other words, once we can really believe that and really believe that, then you know that your mother, the earth, feeds your brother, your sister, everybody around you, or they should, because she provides enough for everybody. So in other words, if we could take projects, I believe, if we can make projects, you know, of just helping people, you know, making sure everybody's got food in your neighborhood, making sure everybody's got whatever they need in the neighborhood. The grandfather, the abuelitos, you know, go check up on them, knock on the doors now and then. You know, in other words, really started acting as if we believe that the sun is like a father and the earth is a mother. You know,
That's a good
so
point. Are you?
and that's the native way, right?
well, we need a project. You know, that's the original way. I believe it's a natural way, and from all peoples. You know, they like to take care of each other. But among Mexicanos, when we say "mi casa es tu casa," it's not just a saying; it's a reality. You know, it's a way of
Right.
life. You know, it's a
Literal.
law of the land. You know.
So you were saying, our job is to come up with a project where people understand that the earth is our mother and our father is our son. And I've been going through this very unique explanation about my food that I sell at Malinali, right? These foods are high mineral foods, right? These minerals get drawn up from either the atmosphere or the earth, right? Algae are in the air, but they land in water, so the earth affects it. And these minerals are metals: iron, zinc, magnesium, copper. All these things flow in our blood, right? So then those mineral particles are literally our mother, right? That flow into our water, which is our blood, which we get electricity from our sun. That is how Father is our son and Mother is our mother, because we consume large amounts of these minerals, and the sun's electrical pull gives us the energy. That's science. But how can you do that if you're mineral deficient? If you're mineral deficient, you're not going to understand what I just said. But when you're mineral rich, it makes complete sense.
And
So yeah, go ahead, product.
on that topic too, what about in Ohio, Palestine, Ohio, where the train crashed and like threw all these toxins in the air?
Yeah.
And that shit is just floating in the air. Now they say there's gonna be like the Chernobyl radiation and all this for years to come. And
Well,
like you say, it's
So
stuff
so what I really noticed about Mazatzin, I really respect him a lot for, is that it's time, and then it's know your rights, right?
It's connected to human rights.
Human rights.
when you live-
and lucky 2Tears, like I follow your social media, bro, and you're all for that. Like I love how you advocate human rights and know your rights.
No,
Ultimately,
you're right. Yeah.
Like-
Being brown, it's very important to use the white man's constitution in our favor, and it really works. In my 30 years of activism, 17 years out of the 30 years, I had this activity called the Barrio Unity Walk, in which, I don't know if you're familiar with the San Diego area, we have this park in Barrio Logan called Chicano Park. And you guys familiar with Chicano Park?
Yeah, hell yeah.
I've been there.
Chicano rap is dead, by the way. No, I'm just playing. Right, product.
The Chicano Park was the staging point of my walk that I did almost every Sunday for 17 years. And so when we started doing the walk, we came up with this flyer that had the Maya calendar, and on the bottom it had the First Amendment to the Constitution to keep the police at bay, because they would check out our flyer and our mission statement, and they would see the Constitution, the First Amendment on the bottom, and they, oh, these guys are not messing around. They know their rights. You know, so it's very important because they didn't expect that from brown people carrying banners, the green, white, and red banners to promote peace through the barrios. They didn't expect that from us for us to know that we know our rights and that we know how to keep them at bay and get them to tuck tail, buckle, and bounce. You know what I mean? Because they weren't going to violate our rights.
So ultimately, it's just, we're just obeying and following the white man's laws and rights. Or
it's our job to kind of understand, like,
the rights out here. The rights over here are completely different in Mexico. Like, if you get pulled over in Mexico, bro, like, you're fucked.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you have money, it's really about money though. Over there, they're just pulling you over because they want money.
See, out here, if you get pulled over, you like how Lucky 2Tears says, take advantage of that system.
If you're
it's not about taking advantage of the system.
If you're uneducated, about your rights, or if you're uneducated about,
do you know your rights, Kodak Pistolas?
Hell no, they're gonna yell at me, they're gonna scream at me, pull me out the car, harass me, check me for everything. Shit, I don't even know I had in the car, arrest me, throw me.
I didn't even know I had rights because when I was a teenager and I got, you know, an encounter with a sheriff. It was actually Cerritos Sheriff and Norwalk Sheriff. These pieces of garbage. They treated us like shit. Zero.
Well, their job is to
racist,
do that.
Fool. They're still racist.
But that's their job. Their job is to do that.
And sometimes they're raza, bro. They're brown.
I even beat a big drug case because they apparently violated my rights.
Violated your Fourth Amendment?
They never told me my Miranda rights after them pulling me over with like hundreds of pounds of fucking of something.
Fuck, you were trafficking? Wow. Look at
you.
You.
I was lost in space when I was younger. But then they never read me my Miranda rights, and out of nowhere, like, the case was fucking dropped. It just was a goddamn miracle.
That's a good point in knowing that there are some laws and things that if you don't know about, like, say you were.
But who implemented
But
these
let's
laws,
say,
right?
for
Like
instance,
how,
you were like,
how Lucky 2Tears said.
let's say, for instance, you're a non-speaking English person. You wouldn't know not to ask. You know what I mean?
So
you wouldn't know not to go, oh, he didn't read me my Miranda rights. They would be like, boom, he's gone.
And that's why our people don't take advantage of like Section 8 housing, the money in the communities, all this stuff, because we don't know the literature, we don't know the language, we don't know how to sign up for those papers. You know what I mean? So
well, that's the whole point of what Mazatzin is literature's putting together, and it's going to take us more effort than wanting to see it on a post or wanting to see it on a TV show or whatever. It takes a lot of time. And talk about it, Mazatzin. You've been working on this for 25 years. You know, getting someone to listen to you at wherever you've been, as far as the UN, right? You've been there. You've been in Venezuela. You've been not Venezuela. What's it? Evo? Is it not Venezuela? What is it? Evo Morales, when that area where Evo Morales is from, but
yeah, I was in Bolivia.
Bolivia, there it goes.
Just a few months ago in October.
See, Mazatzin, what people don't know about Mazatzin is that he does that international work, that international human rights work. I mean, Lucky 2Tears and myself, we experienced what the barrio is giving us or what the low income areas are giving us, but Mazatzin goes across borders, and you know, sometimes we have it rough, and they bully us and they give us arrest. But when you go over there, like
that's the real.
Well,
real
you know, like
right
Lucky 2Tears says, there's Chicano Park. Like Chicano, it just, I don't know. Does it have a tone to it? Like, okay, Chicanos, Cholos. I don't know. I always grew up like that. It just, I don't know. I was into Chicano rap. Mm-hmm. So everything that fell under that category was like predominantly gangster rap, right? Lucky 2Tears?
Yeah.
So me thinking about Chicano Park, I'm like, okay, just a bunch of lowriders, a bunch of Chicanos.
That's how far we are from
that's
understanding
it's so fucked up, bro.
That's
right?
how far we are
I don't
from
know.
understanding this.
So what is Chicano? Break it down. What is that word Chicano? Where does it come from? Who called us Chicanos?
Where I started using it was when I saw this documentary on PBS, and there was a documentary about the Chicano movement.
Okay.
Right, and the people deciding that they're going to call themselves a certain thing called Chicano. versus wetback and beaner and
Right.
whatever.
Okay.
This is us. You know, we're gonna embrace our indigenous heritage, and we're gonna teach our children about where they come from and whose land.
Chicanismo.
Right. That's what I felt.
But I
Chicano.
love the fact that there is a park called Chicano Park, and I know of it. It's in
And
San Diego.
that
It's
park
a
was
legendary
done in
park.
that spirit, the one that I just explained. You know, they did it. They commemorated it because they were going to decide to call themselves a certain thing, and they were going to teach their children. At least this is what the documentary is telling me. You know, about their past. And then Mazatzin here is on our podcast going, we need to get another level. And that's true. We need to go to the other level. What is the other level?
Hey, look at, hey, brother. The other level is I've been using a term lately. I've been me and a homeboy from over there from Cuernavaca, my good brother El Jaguar de Catemaco, who lives in the Callejón del Diablo over there in Cuernavaca. So we've been using another term lately, and guess what? Our term is Chicano Mex. Okay, Chicano Mex. You know, because
MEX Mex.
Yeah, Chicano and Mexicano, no, you know, because that's pretty much what Chicano, initially was meant to represent, right? Like raza, they're on this side, pero somos más chicanos que la fregada because, you know, somos más, you know, I would say 150% Mexicano, man, all the way as far as I'm concerned, you know. Pero there can also be Chicano Nica, right, from Nicaragua, Chicano from different places, you know. When I was in college, bro, we said and we believed every Latino, quote unquote, every Hispanic, okay, is a potential Chicano, okay. You know, another. That's right.
That's deep.
They're all potential Chicanos.
Well, you know what I was told? A Chicano. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, let me finish the little part. Because Chicano meant that we know who we are. We know that our raíz is from Mexico, but we're on this side, and guess what? We have every right that you have. So earlier, when we were talking about, even when we say following the white man's law, well, you know what? Let's make it our law. You know, let's put our gente there so they can write the laws. You know, it don't gotta be the white man's law. It's gotta be a law that's good for everybody. You know, and that's why we always go back and we say, oh, that's the native way. Oh, that's the other. And what way is the native way? Simple. Just be fair. You know, in Bolivia, there's one thing that they talk about over there. Don't steal, don't lie, and don't be lazy. That's the law. That's the law of the land. Okay? They take it very seriously. All Tawantin Suyo, all the Condor land, they know about that. Don't steal, don't lie, and don't be lazy. Okay? That's the law of the land. If you can do that, you won't have too much troubles, you know? Of course, other people put, you know, things in our ways. Okay? But to be Chicano, for me, you know, and the reason we say Chicano Mex is because of all that our pueblo has suffered, especially in all these roundups and all these, you know, what do you call it, deportation and stuff like that. You know, they take chingo of U.S. citizen in the kids, you know, right? And they throw them to Mexico or wherever the other countries. Well, these kids have all the rights that any other kid in the USA would have. Okay, and I believe even the country has a responsibility or should have a responsibility to watch out for these people. You know,
I want to hear from Lucky 2Tears about the term Chicano.
I heard that it comes from an old Mexican term meaning poorest of the poor. That I heard many moons ago. You know, I've never. I just like how it sounded ever since I was a kid. You know, it sounded had like some power behind it. You know what I mean? Because we came out here from Arizona and San Diego in the early '70s, and you know, the Chicano movement was, or the brown movement was strong, and that was the word that they used to identify themselves, Chicanos. You know, so I used to trip out on these, you know, these brown people, you know, throwing up their fists and being proud of who they were. And that's what inspired me when I was a youngster to be, you know, the positive side of being Mexicano. as opposed to what I was seeing with in the streets with the gangs and stuff like that. Like that, I saw that, I saw the gang side, but then I saw the other side too, with the movement, and that's what attracted me when I was a youngster. The movement, everything that goes with it, the poetry, the music, the vibe, everything, the unity, and everything. So I never understood the gang part, where you have raza fighting over something they could never buy, sell, nor own. We have us.
Wow.
And we shouldn't be dividing ourselves up over some barrio territory or street sign stuck in cement. That the white law could, or the white government could just take from us, pull out from under our feet like a carpet. You know what I mean?
Man, Zero, you've incorporated lines like that in your music throughout your whole career. It's powerful.
Yeah. It's also too, like, to understand that type of law takes a lot of time, because there are laws that are written on top of laws to hide other laws. You know what I mean? Like, people don't understand, like, the citizenship, right? The citizenship grants you a social security card, which pledges that when you turn 18, you are to turn over 42% of your income forever. That's the law. You see? That's the law. But that's not the republic law. There's a different law for that, but that law still exists. And that's the layers that Mazatzin I'm sure, has gotten to, where we have certain laws that pertain.
Natural law.
Right, natural law, exactly. But if you don't know those laws, if you don't know it and you don't study it, then you can never say it. You can never quote it. You can't.
But why
There's
does
statutes and ordinances, right? But those aren't laws. Laws are different than statutes and ordinances, right? You're breaking these ordinances or these laws that were superimposed on other laws. It doesn't mean that you erase those laws and those laws are no longer in there, and they just don't refer to them. Unless you know about
But
them.
I want to go back to the whole Chicano rap thing, right? Like, so, according to American Cholo, well, not American Cholo, Prime, the homie, shout out to Prime. He says you can't be Chicano if you're not born here. Is that what he said?
He said you can't be Chicano if
you're not born in the United States.
Yeah. That's what he said.
Okay, is that some form, or is that an opinion?
Chicano is not. It's something that oppressed people came up with, and then a group of people started using it and sharing it. And now, when you get into the side of politics, those are things that are being made up in those groups.
But then why does the term Chicano rap? It seems to me, growing up as a kid, going to the swap meets and checking out the Chicano rap section, right? It was all the cholos.
Right.
So, where does the word cholo come from?
Were you ever considered a Chicano rapper, Zero? Growing up, is anyone told, hey man, you're a dope Chicano, or do you take that term Chicano rapper? No, I'm not a Chicano rapper, because
Are you a proud Chicano?
Do you feel like Chicano rap has that style of, like, it leans towards gang culture?
It depends, though. I mean, that's okay. Chicano, the word Chicano was a starting point.
But the Chicano rap.
Right. And someone took that name and marketed it and put these persons that look a certain way right underneath the banner, right? Because you got to remember, these are ideas that are coming from a marketing person to sell this record. It doesn't mean that it evolved or is connected to the 1960s term, because the 1960s term has evolved from that place.
But you know what, brother, Chicano. Okay, look at. I guess I was maybe 13 or 14. I don't know, maybe a little younger. That's a long time ago. And one time my mother says, "Mijo, ¿por qué te llamas Chicano? No te digas Chicano," because like the brother has said, it had some bad connotations to it,
Right.
Chicas patas and this and that, and I remember I told my mom, just what I told you guys right now. I told my mom, no, Ma, maybe before it was like that, but it's not like that no more. Right now, I say we're Chicanos because we have every right that everybody else has here in this land, right? but we don't stop being Mexicanos, you know. In other words, it became a political thing. See, so to be Chicano is not a. It was a, yeah, it was a choice, you know, but it was a choice for power, and all it simply meant that we just what we keep saying about natives, we keep saying about raza and indígena, that we take care of each other, you know, that we take care of each other, and in reality, now that we learn a little bit about cultura, we say, oh, me chica, well, me chicano, you know, me chicano, you know. In other
Yeah.
words, it's closer to the original term than mexicano because it's not a mexicano. It doesn't got a J in there, you know. It's
Right.
actually mexicano, you know.
All
And
right.
so, in other words, it really goes back far. But you know what? That term came in a long time ago with those brothers that came from Mexico, the Flores Magon brothers, you know, from way back then. They brought in Movimiento Chicano, you know, and it
Mm.
was a movement. It was a movement. It is still a movement. ¿Qué huele? You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
What are you holding up like a 2Tears? What is that?
Donatiu.
that's
Right.
right.
Donatiu.
Right.
That's right. That's right. So in other words, you know, and I also remember, man, when I was in junior high school, one of a good, I guess you want to say tutor friend that we had, he told us one time, he goes, you know what? There's going to come a time where it's not easy to be a Chicano. There's going to come a time where it's gonna hurt to be Chicano, you know, and they're going to twist that thing all around, you know. So because we believed at that time that Chicano meant, you know, to be revolutionary. That was the truth, you know. That was the truth. It was a revolutionary term that we took upon ourselves way back a long time ago, way before my time even, you know. But nonetheless, it's something that came through. That's why I was very surprised how the term started being denigrated, you know. The term started being changed, you know, into Hispanic, into Latino, and now Latinx, you know. That's the
Mm-hmm.
latest thing that come up
Oh,
and
that
to
was
label,
horrible.
you know, to label us, you know, and
Wasn't
stuff
there
like
like a state that like banned it or some
But
shit?
Look,
Latinx.
look. To
The
so.
me,
X, they
So,
got
to
rid of
me,
the
let me
X.
all these names and all these. Go
let
on.
me finish with let me finish with this part. So like in a way, like say, don't X allowed again, ¿me entiendes? You know, like Latinx and stuff like that, you know. So that's why we say, so that's good. The closest thing that I can think about, like when I was a kid, man, you know, when I was in college, every Latino is a potential Chicano. In other words, they're all carnales, you know. I've been to a lot of places, like you said, you know, one time, a long time ago, 1989, bro, I was in Nicaragua, you know, and I remember I was there as an interpreter, you know, but when I would get into a place coming to the from Nicaragua, we went into Honduras to the refugee camps of the people who had left Nicaragua because of the war that was still going on, the Contra War. But I remember we would come to the camps, and I would yell and I would say, "Viva la raza!" and shit like that, bro, sir. And they'll go, "Viva, viva!" right inside there, you know. And the guy that I was with, they go, "Who are you? You know, Captain Zero or something?" Huh?
Mm.
Oh, they go, "No, I'm just a vato, man. I'm just somebody, you know, recognizing raza, viva la raza." I go, "You can say it too." And they go, "What does that mean?" I go, "That just means long live the human race, man. That's all." And then the vato will say, "Viva la raza!" and everybody
Right.
just looked at him like, wouldn't say a word, ¿me entiendes? But it was a trip because wherever we went, I don't care if it was, like I said, Nicaragua, even now Bolivia, Peru, or wherever, we recognize each other. You know what I'm saying? And we recognize each other. We recognize each other as people of the earth. You know, simple as that. You know, but you know what? We can have no. To me, we can have no discrimination, no racism towards anybody else, you know, because we got too much work to do together, you know, to fix this world up right now. Okay,
Right.
we got too much work to do, you know, and there's plenty of good people under every color of skin you can imagine, you know, that we can find those people like we are here today, gathered, you know, with the right idea of making sure everybody has, like I said, enough to eat, you know, good health, you know, the
You
the,
know,
the you teach is very important, Zero, on how to keep healthy. You know, that's all.
Absolutely.
absolutely. So,
Well, look. What I
so
did.
officially, you are not a Chicano rapper, right, Zero?
Nah. Well, I'm not in that genre. No. I'm not. Look, I don't want to be placed under terms because look, I could call myself a plumber. I'm a plumber. I'm a plumber. And if I don't pick up a wrench or know how to fix a sink or know how to fix a toilet, I'm not a plumber.
Well, I remember picking up your CD at a record store when I was young. I don't think it was in the section of Chicano rap. I think it was under miscellaneous or misc. You remember those titles, Zero?
Yeah,
I don't know
miscellaneous,
why
yeah.
your city was in the mid.
Well, it didn't have a place.
I would have thought it would have been in the Chicano rap section.
I feel like it's Chicano rap.
If you're Mexican, okay, if you rap, okay, that's the section we're gonna sell your CD on.
I mean, I wouldn't have been mad at it. I wouldn't have been mad at it. But like,
And shout out to all the Chicano, legendary Chicano rappers. You know, there is no bad conversation. I love all my Chicanos. I love Chicano rap. You know, that's our people too, right, Product?
Mondo, who's the king of Chicano rap?
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
That's
SK,
right. That's right.
baby.
Lucky 2Tears. Like, the term Chicano rap, what does that mean to you, Lucky 2Tears?
I've met rappers that I look at Chicano rap in different levels. You got the gangster style, then you got the guys that are really you got the ones that are really into the indigenous movement type rap, and they label themselves as Chicanos. And you got the ones that are real political. So there's like different levels, and I appreciate it all because they're even with some of the gangster rap. I have a lot of good friends that are gangster rappers and stuff like that. And a lot of these guys get pretty deep with their philosophy and how they look at life on the streets, and day in, day out, and having to survive and losing the homeboys and having to disappoint their parents with the lifestyle that they're living and stuff like that. So and a lot of them get pretty deep with the lyrics, and it's not all about just drinking and smoking and having sex. A lot of them get pretty deep with their philosophy on different levels. So I've had the pleasure of knowing rappers from different levels of so-called Chicano rap.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Zero,
like you said, Zero, like that term
like a
from the
smarter
60s is not the term that's being labeled, incorporated in that new term Chicano rap, right?
look, the term that happened from the 60s, somebody wrote about it. Somebody published it. Someone made a movie about it. And then someone said, "Oh wow, let's make a record label, or let's put all these people who happen to be Mexican, who were born here. They're Chicanos. Let's put them into this rap scene." It's all like I was saying before. I could say I'm a plumber, but if I never fix a sink or grab a wrench, I'm not a plumber. Let's stop. Like if Lucky 2Tears said, "Oh yeah, I'm native, but I never burn sage." Right? I don't wear my medicine. Right? That's what I mean. That's the way I take those terms. Like, if you're not gonna follow and walk this way, like since the last time we've been together, Mazatzin, it's like I look at the calendar in a very different way because I'm trying my best to try to implement it in my life. There's no rule book and there's no coach and there's no nothing. I mean, I have you and I can always access you. That's not the issue, but the issue is that if I say I want to be a Mexica or a Aztec, then I have to follow their way.
Now, is that
I have to eat their food.
Now, is that a solution to like how Lucky 2Tears fights for, like, he advocates, against gang violence, falls into the category of Mexican gangs and Chicano rap?
I think that's in a little bit different way. It's a different topic because what we're talking about is implementation of the knowledge that you learn from whatever source. If I just go to Mazatzin, I go, "Mazatzin, tell me about the Aztec calendar." "Oh, wow, I know so much about the Aztec calendar. I just know so much about the Aztec calendar. What month is it? What time is it?" Like, what's the point of knowing all this information about the Aztec calendar if you're not going to try to use it?
Yep.
You need to try to use it. And that's what I've been humbly trying to learn myself. Now, there's also these foods. We neglect food so much. We just talk over it. It's like it's not important. Like, yeah, let's keep eating whatever they give us and try to be at the highest level of thought. What I've come to figure out on my own, through my own prayer, through my own practice, is that high mineral diet and fasting was a big component to our way because it allows you to understand time. I know exactly what time it is without looking at the time because I get hungry at that time if I eat minerals.
Hey, Product, we need to get on a high mineral diet ASAP.
And
Well,
then
I know where I'm
once your
going.
body starts to heal and saturate itself with all of the metals and minerals that Mother Earth creates, then automatically you start shifting into that practice of following these roadmap, this cosmic, what did you call it, Mazatzin? You had a specific name for it.
I call it astronomical calendrical map and cosmic clock.
See
Wow.
that is intense.
That's intense. I'm proud of
Tie that information with high mineral diet.
Totally.
Tie that information, because see what happens when you have a high mineral diet and you have the will to fast, you eat once a day for 360 days a year. And then you fast for 5 complete days.
Prodac, we need to fast for 5 days, bro. You and me.
But there's steps. There's steps. I'm just saying that.
Can I just jump into the fasting, or you think like Mondo? Don't just.
No. The first you have to do is get used to the minerals, take them daily, consistently, because that is like drinking the breast milk of your Mother Earth. This is the highest nutrition.
I need that.
And shout out to Manalali Superfoods, and that's what
I focus on.
And it's derived off of native ways, right?
It's derived off the seeds,
I need the Mother Earth
root,
titty.
and algae. Seed, root,
Zero.
algae. Yes.
Zero. If I may interject something right now, what you said right now, you said let's tie that into the superfood, right? Like what you're talking about, right?
Right.
Okay, very good. But you know what? Let's tie that into what Big Brother Lucky 2Tears is talking about. You know, let's tie that into what Armando's doing. You know, let's tie that into what Protac is doing. In other words, exactly. We need to start tying this into everything that we're doing, and not see it as something separate from us. ¿Me entiendes?
Yeah.
That we're gonna learn and we're gonna be doing this and that later. Sino que eventually it'll be like just a natural thing, right?
Right.
Like what day is it? What day is it today? ¿Me entiendes? Let me ask you, what day is it today? Is Zero? I'm not gonna put you in a spot, but yes, I am. What day is it today? In the
Oh man, see, I knew you were gonna do that. I don't know what day it is.
Yo,
Exactly.
I just want to remind people we have a packed house right now. Feel free to call in 562-542-2975 if you guys have any questions for Zero, Lucky 2Tears, Mazatzin,
I
man.
got a question.
This is your
Zero.
chance.
My question is, what day is it on the calendario? You know, I'm sorry to put you in a spot again. Okay.
No, I don't know. But I'll
Exactly.
tell you one thing that I did do. I did take minerals. I did take minerals, and I fasted till 7. I got up at 6 a.m. and I looked directly into the sun to greet it. And at 6 p.m. I greeted it goodbye. And I gave it thanks for everything I was doing throughout the day, because I do have a store that teaches you how to do this and use this in your life. I'm not talking smack. And I want you to know that I don't know the calendar system on the automatic because I'm running a store by myself. I want to do that. That's where I'm going. That's what I want to do. I want to do that on a daily basis because I feel like the 260-day calendar is something I want to follow every year.
Brother, then put my website up there on in front of you all the time, okay?
Yes,
Put my website
absolutely.
up there.
Yes.
Because on my website, every day, every minute of the day, you can check what time it is, what day it is. So what I'm trying to say, it's just like you said earlier, and it's true what you said earlier, that we pass the food situation, we just pass it on. We just eat whatever we can, as fast as we can, wherever we can, and whatever we like and tastes great, you know? And we really don't take the time to learn, like you have, to learn to do it and get the most out of it, you know?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's why we got so many things.
Yes.
But time is one thing that we all got to deal with, you know?
Yes.
Okay. And if we can get back into a rhythm, just like what you're doing, all the stuff you're doing is great. But you know what? Today is, you know, all the days are very special. And they got a mission to accomplish.
Okay.
And we don't got to drop everything and follow whatever the Aztecs did or anything like that. Nada. You know, we do got to know how to respect time and get the most out of it, you know, and use it in and if I said, put it together with what you're doing already. So, you know, one thing I told the people one time, we're not trying to change anybody's cultura because everybody has culture. Everybody's got in their veins, man. It runs in their veins. Ancient knowledge. Everybody has it, you know.
Yes.
But there is something that is pointed to our pueblo from Mexico as the timekeepers, you know. Every nation, every culture gave us something beautiful from all over the world. But the raza, man, in Mexico Tenochtitlan, when they put together the calendario, like I said, after thousands of years of thousands of people across thousands of miles putting their head together. But when they put that thing in stone and they put it right there, it was a finished product, you know. And it's considered by modern science as the most precise calendar system ever created, you know. And we should be taking advantage of that, you know, in whatever aspect that we're working on. That's what I was trying to say. In whatever aspect that we're working on, let's use that as well. You know, it'll guide us, it'll help us, and it'll teach us one thing.
Yes.
Not even the president's got one more minute than I do. You know, nobody does. You know, time is the same for all of us, like the sun and the earth. You know.
Right.
Man, I'm just a student, just absorbing all this, right, Product?
Man, this is beautiful. And just to be here and listening to you guys, man. All the
We got 3
knowledge, all the
OGs,
wisdom.
Zero. We got Lucky 2Tears. We have Mazatzin. Man, you guys, legends in the game.
Oh, I'm always grateful to Uncle Mazatzin. I knew he was going to put me on the spot with.
What is the day? What is the day today? Mazatzin, what's today's day on the Aztec calendar?
I refuse to look. I refuse to answer.
Oh, okay.
Today is February the 15th, right? 2023. And let me see what the time right now is. What time is it for you guys over there?
10:02.
10:02, huh? 10:02. Good. So right now, in this piece of time, there's a energy we call Chipetotec. And that means our guide that helps us shed the old skin, and he's guiding this 72 piece of time. Right now, at this moment, we're in the 18 minutes of the Jaguar or Celot, you know, and the day that we're in today is the day of the crocodile Sipakli. So it's a new beginning. It's a beautiful time, you know.
Perfect.
And all the stuff that you did, get all of that. It's nice, you know. But that's why we said astronomical calendrical map. Okay, it's gonna guide us a little bit,
right?
You know, but you don't gotta follow the path. You can make your own path, but you know where you're going.
Yes.
And then and a cosmic clock, because then we can take advantage of the moments. Like for example, the Jaguar, a time to be audacious and tenacious. And right now, the one who looks like a Jaguar is our brother here, Lucky 2Tears, right now, because a Jaguar is quiet, listening, checking things out, you know, before he makes his move, you know. Okay, so he's audacious, don't get bothered by the small stuff, but once he sees what he wants, don't take his eyes off it. Boom, I'm on it, you know.
Right.
So in other words, these are just potentials that are in a piece of time that once we get to use them and to become part of us, you know, and it's natural. So everybody's got their own, like I said, everybody's got their own cultura, their own culture, their own traditions, their own ways of saying hello to the sun and goodbye into the sun, you know. So we're not trying to convert anybody into a religion or a different tradition, nothing like that. All we're trying to say, hey, you know what time it is? Let me tell you what time it is. It's the time of the Jaguar. Now everybody's gonna use it differently. You know, someone's gonna run, someone's gonna be happy, someone's gonna say, all right, let's be cool, you know. So in other words, all we're trying to do is share what we have, you know, and the most common thing for everybody is time upon this earth, of course.
Right. Absolutely.
That's a brilliant breakdown, man.
Yeah. There's like these components are coming together very quickly, and I believe that that's a part of that kind of vision that they had back then, that we would come back and then start to understand this wisdom, you know, but it takes time. It's not overnight. Gang violence doesn't end overnight. Our oppression doesn't end overnight.
And now we have social media, we have YouTube. Lucky 2Tears is big on social media. You know, your page is profound, Lucky 2Tears. Like the minute I visit your Instagram, it hits me in the face hard, like what you represent. Such a positive leader in the community, you know?
Thank you, brother.
And we needed and we're all taking advantage of this new technology, spreading the word. Right, Zero?
Right. Yeah, we're just, doing the best that we can.
Because in the early 90s, like when you were growing up, part of El Vuh, late 90s, like we didn't have any of these resources.
They had just started to emerge, like MySpace and stuff. And so, using these tools.
It was like Lucky 2Tears, like the Chicano movement, like it's a pack,
Well, the word spreads fast.
Mexica movement, right?
The word spreads faster on these platforms. And, we're lucky to have brothers like Lucky 2Tears and Uncle Mazatzin with his breakdowns of how we can conceptualize. But it's not, one isn't away from the other. And that's what I've noticed. When you have a discipline about what you ingest and how it's science. Everything I explained on how to connect with Mother Earth is science. Nothing is a mumbo jumbo. We're not saying Mother Earth just because. We're saying Mother Earth because we eat her berries that are concentrated with a certain mineral, and we chew on the seed because it has a certain mineral. It's coming from the root of the plant that's dug into the dirt. Well, the dirt is Mother Earth. It's not just because. There's a science behind what we're doing. And when you ingest these large amounts of minerals, the sun affects your body differently because you're a high metal being. Like you have lots of minerals floating in your bloodstream. Everybody has the reaction of gravity.
Yeah.
Everyone. But if you're mineral deficient, then you're going to move slow, think slow, react slow, not conceptualize. We couldn't build pyramids if we weren't in the top form of health.
And I don't want people, after seeing this episode, thinking that this is solely about, the Mexica movement or Raza. The term native, LA natives, is for everyone on Turtle Island, every native across all four directions.
Yeah.
Like that hat that Lucky 2Tears is wearing, like, let me see that hat. You're on native land. Like that represents every native land out there.
Yeah. All the territories, because we all had trade and we all had these, we didn't just go there to party. You know what I mean? There was a reason, knowledge. Like Mazatzin said, that calendar wouldn't have been put together if someone didn't walk 500 miles to the north, right? And walk back and bring back the information and experience and medicine and everything that learned. Community means sharing, not hoarding, not manipulating, and not owning. That's what makes us great. It makes us great to be able to learn from other communities, other experiences, other medicines. What do you think the Mayas didn't learn from the Toltecs and the Toltecs didn't learn from the Olmecs?
Mm-hmm.
All these communities passed on sacred wisdom that got handed to the Mexica who completed the stone. That was a message. That was a direct prayer, a message, thousands of years traveling to completion. We can use that, like Uncle Mazatzin says, and it's not an easy task. It's not. It may seem easy, but to live in a very distracted reality and then go, okay, like I'm having, what I started with was just waking up with the sun and seeing that reddish gold sunrise. I have to see it because it sets my day. It gives me information. It gives me direction. Now, if I took that moment and then went, oh, today's the day of the jaguar, right? Boom, now the information evolved into something deeper. When we get off colonial time and implement our time, then we won't have a void of time. We'll be powerful once again. And not in power to take over or manipulate or control, but the power to live within nature. That's priceless. That is being indigenous.
And I think that's a solution to choloism, gangsterism, for our people, our gente, raza, that fall into the trap of all these gangs. You know what I'm saying? That they are native.
We need to challenge ourselves more.
Right, Lucky? Like, I think that's what you do. Like, you just kind of remind these kids, like, hey, you are native, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I was going to say earlier that a lot of our people, me in particular, and a couple of my close tribal members, we are strong believers that I don't know how open-minded you guys are, but we're very firm believers that the Star people played a major role in helping us develop ourselves way back then. You know, with math and how we built our structures and different things. You know, and back then, thousands of years ago, we were more open-minded to those who came from the sky and landed and taught us these things, as opposed to the paranoia and the fear that happens to this day, and the possibility of people from other places existing. You know, people are so closed-minded nowadays, where back then a lot of this was going on, and it was just normal. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
I agree.
so go ahead.
No, I agree.
Well, I mean, what do you think? What do you think, Mazatzin?
Well, I can't disagree, because there's so much stuff that we don't know, no doubt about it. But nonetheless, I have heard abuelos, for example, in Peru, in this way over there. Man, I can't think of the name right now. You know where they got the drawings on the ground? Remember the Nazca, right? They call it Nazca.
Oh yeah, the Nazca lines.
Yeah, in that area, the abuelo said that they found recently. They also found some burials, right? And with some people that had 3 fingers, bro.
Wow.
3 fingers, and they were very, very, very tall people. Not giants like the ones we see sometimes on YouTube, but nonetheless, very, very, very different. And so the abuelo said something about to that effect. What the brother was saying. We've heard about also a little bit. I don't know much about it because I have not studied it, but about the Lakota star knowledge. Then that's what the brother's talking about. That there was some kind of connection. Something was happening. I understand a lot of that stuff. That's what I'm saying. I cannot disagree with it. And but what I wanted to bring out is the fact that things happen because people work together. You know what I'm talking about? Things happen because people came together. Even though there were different peoples, from different areas, maybe had different language, they had to learn how to say the same word for the same things they wanted, or teach each other their language. Simple as that. And but people came together. And nobody really, from what I can gather, nobody really thought that they owned, right? This is my land. Like the brother said earlier, we're fighting for a barrio sometimes, and we all live in the projects. You know what I mean? That tomorrow they'll be gone. And or we can't afford them no more. Stuff like that.
Exactly.
So I remember when I started teaching these things, and we talk about the 4 directions, but it seemed like Raza was just stuck on 2 directions, the north and the south. What happened about the other directions? The sun's got to come up. Like now, Big Brother Zero tells us, how he needs to see that sunrise. Got to see it, and it's got to say goodbye to it.
Exactly.
It becomes part of what he does. So there's a lot of things that we can start doing. To me, what I really appreciated was I got to be over there, played way, way down south. It's called the Awanako. It's very incredible place. I believe, I feel, because of the work and the I guess you want to say the investigation that I've been doing, I believe that it began down there. It began way down there in Lake Titicaca, way down there, in Pumapunka, and those places that we can't figure out how they did these things that are there. but they're so ancient, and yet we see like something you probably can't see, something here that I got on here, but this little symbol that I have right here, they call it the Andean cross and so forth. Well, guess what? This is Venus. This is a symbol of Venus,
Wow.
and Venus is Quetzalcoatl. In other words, it's all tied in, It's a big, big work, a human work.
Right.
That's why I say now, and sometimes some people get upset, but I talk about the calendario, and I say it's not an Aztec thing, it's not a Mexican thing, it's not a Mayan thing, it's not an Indian thing, It's a human experience, It's a human experience because it took human beings to put their hearts and minds together, to find that meaning behind time. How can we take advantage of it without abusing it? How can we get the most out of it? And it's very simple. How can we know when to plant that seed into the ground? And stuff like that. Like now, my brother Zero can already know what time it is because time to eat, man. But he knows it's time because his body's going back into that rhythm. And we all need to do that. We all need to develop ourselves and return to the center. Return to the center.
So Lucky 2Tears brought up, being open minded. I'm super open minded. Like Zero always mentions, like these structures, and they were built in such, with such precision,
Right.
math, and just engineering, and just fathoms you, right? Do you believe there was help from the Star People?
Look, right now there's a lot of experimental use of plant medicine, right? There's people using plant medicine. Those plant medicines are connected to the earth. The earth has a certain vibration that communicates to the universe. So whatever else is in the universe can communicate to the earth through the plant medicine. Plant medicine has been a part of our road for a very long time.
The mushroom,
Whatever plant medicine,
weed.
whatever plant medicine it is, that's what is the key to the earth, because it has its roots in its earth, so it has the frequency of the earth that is sending out a message into the universe. So when you use these plant medicines, of course you're going to do and talk and get physics and whatever it is. Maybe you can create a relationship with these, because we didn't have a heaven and hell. We didn't have that in our perspective, at least in ancient time. There was 13 levels, according to the Maya, and 9 levels of the underworld. So these were all dimensional things that you could tap into. In my opinion, I'm not a scholar. I don't know everything. But plant medicine is older than we are. So it has secrets that we don't know. How you use it and how you apply it creates frequency, sound, math, reaction, and completion. That's my take. Does that make sense?
I think,
Ayahuasca, the toad.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Go ahead.
I was going to say that anyone who has the mindset that there is that we are the only living planet, or the only planet with life in a space that's so vast and endless, anyone who thinks that there's nothing other than us is pure ignorant, stupidity, stupid. We're firm believers that there is life beyond this space. The Creator put us on this planet and made us the way that we are, and there's other beings, and there's other life that's been around longer than we have been in existence, and with their technology is beyond our comprehension. We could never understand or figure it out because it's so complex, but these are people or beings that have been around for thousands of years, and to think that there is no life beyond this planet, just pure ignorance, man. We're not the only living planet in the universe in a space that has no end, that's endless. That's such an ignorant thought, You know,
I
for
mean,
someone to say, "Oh, we're the only living planet," that's stupid, man. It's just plain stupidity.
we're like I said before, we were science was a big part of what we did. Science and art and documentation of thousands and thousands of years. What happens when we find a 100-year-old book and we read it and we go, damn, look at all the stuff it has. That's only 100 years ago. Imagine the books that were handed down to our abuelos and our abuelos and our abuelos and our abuelos. Like, imagine a 500-year-old book. Imagine a 1,000-year-old book of observation. Like, we can't fathom the understandings just yet. We can tap in, though. I believe we can tap in. The blood is still inside of us, and inside that blood, there's memory. And the more you're connected with Mother Earth through mineral diet, I feel that the answers come directly from the sun and they come inside you. Now we just need to follow the books, like Uncle Mazatzin says. What day is it today? Come on, Zero. What day? Come on, I should have fired that off. But we're all learning. I'm humble enough to say, I don't know. Why would I lie to Mazatzin? There's no need to. I'm looking in my own mirror going, use the path. This is what's so beautiful about this podcast is because we're not all experts.
Shout out to the chat.
It's not about ego.
We have a packed
It's not even
house.
about race. According to Mazatzin, it's not even about race. And I agree because race was invented, controlled, and manipulated and used by the people that came from Europe.
Marcus.
Yeah.
Wisdom has no face. You see?
Let me jump in there just a little bit,
Sure.
if I can, because it's a point. Because you said earlier, or maybe with Armando, someone said that we have to see both sides of things, right? We can't just talk about the nice stuff. We got to talk about the other stuff.
Sure.
Just to get a more clear perspective of things that we also got to talk about, like the decolonization, right? As well as we're talking right now about ways to reconcile with each other, right? With Mother Earth. So what you mentioned, like you said, that came from Europe and stuff like that. Well, and it did, it did because one thing we're dealing with right now, a project that we have, we call it a project mission, because it's a project we're doing, getting people into our project. At the same time, it's a mission that's calling us to fulfill this mission, this project, and that is the return or the repatriation of the ancient books, right? And like we said, beginning with what we call, or it's known as, the Codex Borgia, right? That's in the Vatican Library, and we know that the brothers up here from the north, they've been for years and years and years working on trying to dismantle, or for them to take back what they call the doctrine of discovery and things like that. Well, this book, the sacred book called the Codex Borgia, is a prime example of that doctrine. Okay. In other words, it survived because someone stole it and took it away and stole it away. And thank goodness, it showed up later, right, with someone named Cardinal Borgia, right? That's what they call it, the Codex Borgia. But nonetheless, it's a Huehuetlatoli, it's an ancestral word, ancestral knowledge, But it is a prime evidence, a piece of evidence that we have of that doctrine of discovery, right? That said that not all humans are created equal, And it did begin way back then. I see it as the first, well, maybe not the first, because it happened many, many times before that, probably, and years before that. But I'm going to talk about 1452 with one of the papal bulls, right, that the Pope at that time, put into effect when they declared war on the whole world that was not Christian. Okay, so that was the beginning of that white supremacy that still lasts, is alive today. Okay, and we're still dealing with it today in many, many different ways. Not everybody feels the same way about it, of course, and particularly, I think one of the biggest victims of white supremacy, whether they know it or not, are white people. Okay, they're victims of white supremacy. They destroy more of white people than they do others. But it began back then with a thinking or feeling that someone was better than somebody else, okay, and they use that. And so the Codes Borgia is the example or the evidence that we have of how they destroyed and burned all the other books that existed that you mentioned, or Armando was mentioning, 500-year-old books, 1,000-year-old books that were there, and who knows what was in those books and what it could have helped us in this time and age. But the one that we do have, and that is most definitely pre-Hispanic, pre-Cortez, right, pre-Cuauhtemoc, this ancient book called the Codes Borgia now, so our mission, our task is to try to recuperate that, try to recuperate, bring it back, and we've been doing it from the process or the point of view that now isn't that by them keeping it at the Vatican Library, they're in violation of the rights of indigenous people. So you could say we're looking at it from a judicial perspective, but that's why, last year, last couple of months last year, I went to Oaxaca because I wanted to go, to Montalban, to Mitla, to Osompa, to where the original peoples are, because they have even more of a right to demand it, it's an inheritance to them, it's from their pueblo, so in other words, I believe that once we can recuperate this, this sacred book, it will help a lot in the mending of the hoop. It will help so much. In the recuperating of our ways, but not separate from others, but only so we can share with others. But nonetheless, as long as our spirituality, which is written inside that book, is kept inside that prison, or they call the Vatican, Apostolic Library, as long as it's in there, we are captives, we are prisoners, we cannot be free, we have no judicial sovereignty, I know if we really don't have a palabra, we can yell and scream all we want, but we got nothing that's legal. And the law is based on today, like it's been for 500 years, but more, it's based on Roman law. It's still there, it still rules and runs, and all the system is based on that. So for us to recuperate and bring their indigenous laws from many different pueblos, they're gonna be different, but to bring those back up to par with the Roman law, I think that's an important goal that we need to work towards, And to do that, we have to be united, We have to be united, different pueblos from different areas, from Canada, from the USA, from Central South America. We have to come together as one group of people, that we can develop our own, even our own, what do you call it, judicial systems, okay? And that's what I've been learning when I go to Bolivia, with the 36 pueblos there in Bolivia, when I go to Peru, and I'm seeing that these people are working towards that, we're working towards that, Over here in the States, I see us, and I include myself, I see us, we're trying to get to our roots, but, it's not as, it's not as pressing, it's not as important to us, really, because we got other things that distract us, like you said, or keep us busy, But in other parts of the world, getting to the roots is how they're going to get their sovereignty, their judicial sovereignty, who can have a palabra, and take care of their people. So we have a big job ahead of us. But hey, that's what we're here for, right?
And this is why I like this episode, man. It's jam packed with decolonization, right? Decolonize your mind, right? Lucky 2Tears, Mazatzin, Zero. Like all you guys do is just continue to move forward with ideally the similar messaging, but in you guys' own creative ways.
That's the beauty, because you're looking at the face of decolonization as three different opinions, three sovereign opinions, three rooted opinions.
I got something.
Go for it.
There's so many people nowadays, I see it in all walks of life. People have become so materialistic and superficial. They just, day in and day out, they have this routine where they just get up in the morning and they just go through this from A to Z routine without stepping out and noticing the sky or what direction the wind is blowing against them. or the birds, or the sun, the clouds, and they don't pay attention to, what Mother Earth, that Mother Earth breathes, that she lives. They don't notice these things. And I notice that with a lot of people nowadays are so like robots. Every day they have like this routine. They don't stop to notice the important things that the fact that Mother Earth is living and that she has all these beautiful things to offer, like the land and the birds and the different things that a lot of our people pay attention to on the daily, like myself and others like myself that take time to look at the sky and look at the sun and different things. So many people just, put all of that to the side. And I think that's, I don't know, it's, to me, people have become lost in their spirit and have become blind to what's really going on around them and what's really important, other than all the material superficialism. I don't know.
Man,
this
that's deep.
Nation has become poisoned, with this superficialism and this plastic, mentality, and I thank the Great Spirit that the Great Spirit gave me the strength and the knowing to see beyond the mundane, the routine, stuff like that, to stop and take time and pay attention to the ground and the creatures that crawl on the ground and the birds that fly in the sky and how blue the sky is and how beautiful the rain is when the rain falls. And when I talk to my sister Crow talk about these things, she goes, Lucky, you have this, you have this old soul, you probably lived a long time ago and you're back here again. Because ever since I was young, I never liked this. I'll be honest with you. Ever since I was a kid, I've always would question the Great Spirit. I didn't even know anything about religion, but I knew that the Great Spirit exists. So I'd always talk to God and I would say, why am I here? I hate this place. I hate this place. It moves too fast. These cars, these roads, these machines, these buildings, this noise. I hate it here. I hate it. To this day, at the age of 58, I know that I have a purpose here because the Great Spirit tells me you have a purpose here. This is why you're here. And I always say to the Great Spirit, well, I hate it here because it's noisy. This world moves too fast for me, Great Spirit. I can't hang. And the Great Spirit says, you have to. This is your path. You have to walk this path because you're helping these people. You're helping your people and you're helping La Raza to awaken, And then, but I every day I struggle with living in this time, in this space, in this place, And my mother used to talk to me about this. She goes, Mijo, you have an old soul. She goes, this is why this place confuses you. You have a purpose here. You have a purpose in this place. And, I would question, when I was a kid, I used to question, why do we have to wear clothes? Why am I in this skin? What is these things called bones? And I used to really get into deep thought about everything when I was a kid and my purpose and my existence here. And I used to question it all the time to this day, and I guess it's my path that I have to walk until the day comes where I make the journey and go to a greater realm of existence.
Well, Zero, this is a prime example of what you talk about. This is a perfect example of having a connection, right?
Yeah, well, it's important to know that I like what Mazatzin said earlier. It's the full potential, right? In whatever environment you're dropped into. Because we don't get a choice on where we're dropped into. A bird could eat a seed from something, fly far away, and drop it into a concrete that finally gets rolled into a crack, that gets water, that gets air, that finds root. And all of a sudden, you got this beautiful plant coming out of a concrete environment going, how did it do it? It went full potential.
Mm-hmm.
It went full potential on its own, with its own will. It made itself what it needed to be, that beautiful flower, that beautiful plant, whatever it was. It had no choice on where it was going to be stuck.
Man, shout out to the chat. We have a packed house right now. It's 10:30 p.m. and it's lit. I wish we could have all of the guests for another 2 hours, man, but it's such a unique episode, man. I might have to sit, in the next couple of days and just rewatch this, man, because there's so many gems you guys are dropping. But Zero, great episode, right? Like,
Absolutely.
I just wish we could have everyone here for another 2 hours, man.
There's a lot of information, and we're barely getting started. But shout out to Lucky 2Tears for contributing to this episode. And I'm always happy to see you and hear what you have to say, Uncle Mazatzin. I'll always respect you, and I think your math is accurate. It really helped me with my journey and trying to follow this path, because I think the strongest way to break perspective of decolonization and of colonization is to implement these calendars and mathematical systems on a daily, right? And grow to our full potential no matter where we're dropped. They could drop us in a desert and somehow we'll find water.
Right on, right on.
You see?
Shout out to all the Chicanos out there, right, Prodac?
Yeah, man. Shout out to all the Chicanos all around Turtle Island, man.
Bravo, viva la raza.
So
yeah,
man, I just feel like a kid, a little student, right? Prodac, we're just sitting here just listening
Soaking all this
to
information,
some
bro.
legendary people on this podcast, man.
I was a sponge today.
Shout out to the Conscious Chicano in the chat. Shout out to Z33 Ironhide. Shout out to Word 1, Edge Lift, Moni. Man, dude. Any last words, Zero, before we are out of here and tune in next week?
Well, before that, do you have any last words, Lucky 2Tears?
I pretty much said everything.
How about you, Uncle Mazatzin?
I appreciate the knowledge that's been brought to this forum right here. I really dig it.
Thank you.
That was really cool. Yeah.
I saw someone ask a question regarding this little Tonalamat, right? Record of the passing of the days of the sun that we use to follow the calendar. And they asked if they could still use the same book or they got to get a new one from me. Well, get a new one. No, I'm just kidding. You can use it. Okay. We made it so it can be perpetual, meaning you can use it forever and ever. Wow. What's going to change are the numbers underneath the dates. Okay. Every date has a number, 2 numbers underneath it. Remember, let me get this real calm real quick because somebody's coming down to my house from far away.
So Zero, there is Moni. She left a comment for you saying, Zero, you asked me to remind you about the reading for ants. If you can check on that for us, please.
Oh, yeah, I will. Definitely. I will.
Oh, okay.
I'll definitely do that for that individual.
Man,
humble life.
It's always an honor to have Mazatzin in the building, right?
I mean, he breaks it down very accurately. This guy's busy. He doesn't always get a chance to, talk to us or, whenever we lock him down, we lock him down. It was a surprise.
Man, when we found out he was going to be on the show today, I was, blown away.
Yeah. No, but the information is all relevant and I think we can apply it if we do our best. Go ahead.
We got a homeboy. Okay. So yes, you can use the same libro, right? As you can see, there was for 10 Rabbit. We're coming into 11 Read, right? It'll be on March the 12th at noon. Okay, we're right now in the year of the rabbit, 10 Rabbit, and the days began at sunrise. Okay, so after we go to 365 days, we're gonna go another quarter day more to noontime. So the days will begin at noon. Okay, just remember that part. Okay, when you go into the days, remember, we're going into the heavy duty days, okay? The Nemontemis, which will be the last 5 days of the year, and that's the big movida, the big event that Jaguar's putting on, okay? Because we're for the first time ever, we're going to celebrate the last 5 days of the year, the Nemontemis, okay? And that's the event that Jaguar is working with, and the Tianguis, you know. I'm proud to say they invited me as well. We're hoping to be able to make it down there, okay. And interesting enough, the abuelo Arvizo, the abuelo Lázaro Arvizo from the Danza Chipetotec that will be there. Guess what? They're also going to come up to San Pancho, San Francisco, and I invite all of you who have a chance. On March the 12th, we're going to be bringing in the new year in San Francisco, Califas. Always we say at the right place at the right time. It'll be at noon. The streets of San Francisco will be doing our ceremonia, okay? And we also, they tell us that also tribus coming. We also have, believe it or not, the legend Lester Chambers from the Chambers Brothers is going to be dropping in on us, you know, and some other gente over here in San Pancho on March the 12th, okay? Now, the Nemontemis are going to begin on the 6th. What you want to do is you want to see the last number on the last day of Chochi flower, and you're going to see that it's number 12 flower, okay? Once again, that's before the Nemontemis, the last 5 days. So that 12 flower means that the next day, the next year will begin with 13 crocodile, okay? It'll be 13 crocodile when the year begins. And that's all you got to remember. And so the next day will be 1 up to 13, and then 1 up to 13, right? The 13-day cycles. Just remember that part. But you can use the book all the time, okay? We have still 1 month, complete month to go on the year of the rabbit, and a couple of days, right? So if anybody was to order one now, okay, you can order one now. Everything's gonna be half price. Let's make it like this: $5.
And what's the website, Mazatzin?
Aztechnology, AZTEKNOLOGY, aztechnology.com/clock. So go right to our clock.
Guys. There it is, guys. Great episode. Shout out to Mazatzin. Shout out to Lucky 2Tears, man. Yo, guys.
Thank you, Lucky, for all your good work you're doing, man. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Any last words, Zero?
Yeah, man, it's a pretty cool episode. I'm glad that people were able to, vibe on it. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of things. There's a long road, man. And it takes time to develop this breaking the decolonized perspective. Mazatzin has amazing information. But it's also, you got to understand one thing. That information is tied to your body. So when your body's unhealthy, it's difficult to understand that information. We need to strive. That should be our goal, to be as healthy as possible. Time is coming at us at the speed of light. And if we're wise enough, if we're connected enough, we can use that light to make our own reality and dream. This is what I've come to learn. But it takes time and practice. When a doctor becomes a doctor, he has a practice because he's practiced over and over and over and over and over again on how to deal with sickness. I look at it in that way. Trying to walk in the way of my ancestors is more than just knowing the identity and reading the books. Now I have to implement what I can find from Mazatzin, whoever, whatever. Because all that information I humbly accept and put in my heart translates that frequency into answers. I hope that everyone in our audience can understand this message that was given today. Take it in your heart. Close your eyes. Reconnect. Because we all live on Mother Earth. And we all get affected by Father Son. We'll see you next Wednesday. Tlazocamatli, Ometeo, Tonantzin.